The sailing vessel Hideaway. We have an unusual situation in that, as you know, we've had some overheating problems, and when we got into the water pump, we found that it was pretty much destroyed. In addition to that, Hideaway was leaking oil through the water intake, and what that turned out to be is this. This is the gear case top, and it's cracked, and I'll show you a better picture on the other side. The problem that we had was that in order to remove this from the top of the gear case, there's only the 3 bolts and then the 4 for the water pump. But in order to get that off, to install the new one, we had to slide this all the way up the shift rod. The shift rod top is flat on both sides, and we do have a nice flat thing here. So when that part would be great. The problem is on the back there is a bushing, and this bushing is hard plastic, and it goes right in here, and that bushing is not set up to come off this way. Therefore, the only thing you can do is to pull the shift rod out of the gear case. It's really hard to reassemble the shift rod. In fact, you really can't do it unless you pull the reverse gear and the drive shaft out of the gear casing. And that's not as hard as it sounds, but you do have to kind of be careful. In our case, on an Evinrude, there's a couple of ball bearings that will fall out, and you have to be able to not lose those and reinstall them when you reassemble. But once the drive shaft was pulled out, it was really easy to reposition the cam that actually does the shifting with these 8-inch, actually they're 9-inch long screwdrivers. And once that cam was repositioned, we were able to drop the shifting rod right back into the correct position and then just put everything back together. Much easier than trying to finagle it in any other way. So hopefully this will work for you. It did for us, and this was on a 1994 8 horsepower Evinrude outboard. However, as you might notice in the picture here, this pin is so badly corroded I can't get the thing off. So we're not going to be able to, and for what we're doing, it's not a big deal. Alright. Now the manual will tell you that you tap it off with a hammer, that you actually pull the 2 screws out, cock the ears, and then bang on the ears. But since we've got a prop to do that with, we're going to gently tap it until it comes out. Okay. We also know from looking at our schematic that there's 3 or 4 ball bearings that are loose in here. The trick is going to be to pull them out and not lose them, because they're hard to get. Alright, I've got the bolts removed, and they came off surprisingly easy. By the way, it's 3/8 inch SAE. It's American, believe it or not. Alright, so we're just going to tap, and you're going to go all the way around. You got to be careful that you don't hurt your prop too, of course. But then all of a sudden, there. Okay. Oh, and I dropped the bearings. Well, that's all right. We'll be able to get them out. This is this would be the reverse gear. All of this stuff in here we do not want to disassemble. You have to have special tools to put it back and forth. As you were looking down that deep chamber, this is actually your shifter. That's the bullet end that you see up against your cam that you're not able to move. Okay, so I'm just going to go set this aside, and then we'll work on it from there. Okay, once you get the reverse gear assembly and prop assembly out, this is what you see. Now, you might be able to see the actual cam that's causing all the grief, and that's right there. Now, in our case, we had knocked it off of its little perch, and just by maneuvering it around, we were able to slide it back up in there, and that took, oh, I don't know, less than half an hour, whereas we've been working many hours otherwise. Now you'll notice that you've got a main gear coming down here. That's actually the end of your drive shaft. And we're just going to leave all this alone. I do not want to take that out. I don't want to take any more of the gears out. There's the 2 bearings. You can see they're not very big, but I'll show you a way to put those back in a little bit. Okay, that's where we are now. So let's what's left to do once you get this up, and it really takes two people because you've got one person with a screwdriver manipulating the cog in here, and then somebody else has got to be on the top with the actual shift rod. And between the two of us, we were able to just slip it right in. It worked very smooth.